Welcome back to another episode of Get Started Investing, a podcast where we answer all of your money and investing questions. If you've just joined us for the first time, a massive welcome. My name is Bryce, and as always, I'm joined by my equity buddy, Ren. How are you?
I'm very good, Bryce. I'm very excited for this episode because we are answering what is, without a doubt, the most common question we get here at Equity Mates.
What broker should I choose?
Yes. Whether you are Warren Buffett or an investor just starting out, every investor starts the same way, choosing a broker that they're going to invest with. And in this episode, we're going to unpack what you need to think about when you're choosing a broker, the factors we consider most important, and then finally, we're going to leave you with some recommendations if you're an Australian investor.
Can't wait. So let's get started. Here's a couple of things that you need to know from the top.
Yeah, this is the things that the brokers won't like us saying. First of all, brokers are a commodity. They all offer you access to the same things. And what I mean by that, if you look at 3 brokers that give you access to the Australian market, the things that you can buy and sell, the prices you get, they're all the same. There's no, double dividends if you buy BHP on stake, or there's no half price ETFs this month if you buy through CMC. That's just not how these brokers work. They offer you access to the same things at the same price. So that's the first thing to keep in mind.
The second thing is that there are always better options, or at least always innovation in the space. And so the space is constantly changing, and feeling like you need to lock in to one broker for life is certainly not the approach that we are suggesting taking. But keep in mind that from the top, they are always changing.
And I think the final thing to keep in mind is that there's no switching costs. So, Bryce and I have both started with one broker and then moved to another over time as new offers come to market and prices get cut. And there's no monthly subscription that you're paying for most brokers. So you're just paying on what you buy and sell. So there's no reason that you couldn't have multiple brokerage accounts as new offers come to market. And these days, it's also never been easier to move assets between brokers without having a taxable event. So the idea that you can't switch or that you're locked in, forget that. You can change as you become a more experienced investor.
In fact, sometimes you're actually incentivized to switch. I know some brokers these days will offer free brokerage if you transfer your holdings to them, which we'll get into in a little bit. But before we get into it, Ren, how many brokerage accounts do you currently have actively running?
4.
4?
Yeah.
Scheißen.
And the reason is I actually have different parts of my portfolio set up with different brokers because I like keeping them separate. There's no way that I can take money that I want to invest in my core portfolio and buy some specky stock because those two things happen on different brokerage.
You have a specky brokerage?
I have an individual stock brokerage.
Specky brokerage,
yeah.
Nice.
And then there are some brokers that offer different features. So for example, Auto Invest, we'll explain, but that's a feature that I think is important. Some offer access to different markets. So for example, the US market or mainland Europe, and then finally different asset classes. So one of my brokers is a crypto broker.
Yeah.
Same question to you. How many brokers do you have?
Actively 2.
Okay.
Logins, many more.
Yeah, logins more. But that is the classic example. The fact that we have all these logins from brokers that we did use that served a purpose back in the day, but are no longer our favorites or no longer do the job for us, that is a journey that everyone is going to go on as they become a more experienced investor and as new offers come to market.
It's free to log in and check them out. So keep that in mind as well.
Okay, keep that in mind.
But let's have a look at some of the factors that we consider when we're looking for a broker, and that I think are probably the 3 most important for us. So we've got price, access, and features. So let's start with price. The biggest contributor that you need to consider when it comes to price is the brokerage fee.
Yes.
Now, if you've just started your investing journey, that is the fee that you pay every time you make an investment, either buying and selling. Brokers make their money by charging you a brokerage fee on that investment. Now, the good news is, since Ren and I started investing, brokerage fees have got incredibly low. Back in the day, it was almost $19.95 per trade. There are a lot of brokers these days that either offer 0 brokerage, depending on the market, or from $2 per trade. So very accessible. But that is something that you need to consider, because if you're a frequent investor, the more you're investing, the more you're going to be paying in brokerage.
Yeah. There are other ways that brokers can make money that you got to look out for. As more of them offer overseas markets, they'll make money on the foreign exchange. So if you want to invest in the US, you'll change Aussie dollars to US dollars and they'll take a clip of that. So you can compare different foreign exchange rates and different fees and charges that may apply there. And then the final way that some brokers these days are making money are subscriptions. Now, these aren't compulsory. It's normally like a freemium model where you can sign up to the broker for free and trade and just pay brokerage costs, or you can subscribe and get more advanced features and different access. But that is one to watch out for, because if you really like the features that a broker offers, but you've got to subscribe to get access to them, you've got to factor that cost in.
So price, number one, brokerage, very important to compare between some of your options. So one rule of thumb with brokerage that we have at Equity Mates is you should try and keep your brokerage below 1% of your investment. So if you're investing $500, you want to be paying less than $5 in brokerage.
Yeah, $1,000, less than $10. And the really important thing is more and more brokers allow us to invest with smaller and smaller amounts of money. It used to be you needed a minimum of $500 to invest. Now there's plenty of brokers that will give you access from $50, some from 10, some from even $1. And so if you're going to be investing those small dollar amounts, brokerage becomes really, really important. You don't want to be investing $10 at a time, but paying $1 in brokerage to do it each time.
So the second thing that we look for is access. Now, what we mean by this is what markets do you have available to invest in? We are in an environment now where we can invest globally. So you want to make sure that you find a broker that gives you the access to the international markets you're interested in.
Now, there are brokers that offer you access to 40, 50 markets, which is just a crazy amount of access and more than you will probably ever need. I mean, if I asked Bryce to name me one listed South African company, I don't think he could do it.
South African cricket team? No.
So our rule of thumb here at Equity Mates is in 2024, your broker should offer you the Australian market and the US market at a minimum. That's really table stakes and what you should be looking for. You can look for more. Mainland Europe, Canada, the UK sometimes might be important to people, but I would argue that probably less important. The opportunity set is massive if you have the US.
So then the third and final factor is additional features. So for us, we're looking at auto invest, which we'll get to in a moment. What education does it provide? Does it give you the ability to get up-to-date news, deep dives on stocks?
Does it let you listen to Equity Mates and get started investing?
Yes. Does it have additional content in there to help educate yourself, and also charts and I guess stock-specific information like financials and those sorts of things? Not all of those are going to be relevant if you're just taking a, for example, passive investing approach and you're just interested in investing in ETFs. You don't need charts and a whole bunch of financial information. In that instance, it might be very valuable just to have an auto invest feature so the broker does the investing on your behalf.
Look, a lot of brokers are competing on feature sets these days because there's already been a race to the bottom on price, and they kind of offer, a lot of them offer similar access. So the features you'll see are so wide and so varied. Just off the top of my head, some brokers will give you information on market depth, how many people are trading different stocks. They'll give you access to after hours trading, so you can trade outside the time that the stock market is open. They might give you access to, IPOs and capital raisings from certain companies. And that's great. Like, I love the fact that retail investors like us are getting more and more features and more access. The really important thing to think about is how you want to invest and what features are important to you. Because I know I can put my hand up and say so many of the features that are offered by different brokers will mean absolutely nothing to my style of investment.
So we're now going to drill down on the 4 things that we personally look for when it comes to a broker, keeping in mind those factors. So we want low cost, we want Australia and US markets at a minimum, we want an auto invest feature, and we don't want brokers that sell dodgy investment products like CFDs or the like.
Now, if you're not familiar with that acronym, good. You never need to learn about it. They're contracts for difference. They're essentially, you can make bets on share prices, more like gambling than investing. You can live a long and happy investing life, never using them.
The key thing to remember is you can lose more than you put in. That is why they are so incredibly dangerous.
And the majority of investors do lose more than make money.
Yeah.
Now let's get into the nitty gritty. What brokers meet our criteria? And let's timestamp this. This is as of July 2024 in Australia, because as we said earlier, there are always new offers coming to market. Brokers are always adding new features. So this list will change over time. We'll do this episode again. But for now, Bryce, where do we start?
Let's start with a broker that we both use, which is Superhero. Now, Superhero meet all of the criteria that we spoke about. They are low cost. You can start trading, or you can invest from $2 in brokerage up to $20,000. Then it becomes a percentage. So that is ultra low cost. They offer access to the Australian and the US markets. And they also have the auto invest feature, which we haven't gone into a lot of detail, but essentially Ren and I both have automated investments set up in Superhero. So every time we transfer money to our brokerage account, Superhero then make those investments on a regular basis. The beauty of this is we don't have to think about it. We can get on with other things.
Yeah, you can. It's essentially giving the broker an instruction to do something on your behalf over and over again. So yeah, Superhero is one that meets the criteria. Two others that meet the criteria, Sharesies. So they're low cost. They offer access to Australia and the US. They may offer access to New Zealand as well. Yeah. They offer auto invest functionality and don't sell dodgy investment products. And then a third one that meets the criteria is Perla. Again, I'm not going to go through the criteria, but they tick all those boxes. So those are three names that you can research and see what works for you.
So there are two other brokers that we want to give a shout out that meet a lot of the criteria that we spoke about. The first is Stake. So they are low cost. They offer access to multiple markets. And they also have a very rich platform with content and market data. And similarly, ComSec, the platform that Ren and I both started our journey on. Again, they offer features depending on where you are at your investing journey, but worth checking them out as well.
So neither of them offer auto invest, which is why they don't meet our criteria, but I'm sure it's on both of their product pipelines.
You would think so.
And if it's not, hopefully this video gets them going so they can be on our list next time we do the episode. But look, that really does bring it to an end. There were 5 brokers that we listed there, 3 that meet our criteria, 2 that are close. And I think the message we want to leave you with is any of those options are great options to start your investing journey. You're buying the same things through those platforms. If you want to buy Commonwealth Bank on any 5 of those brokers, it's the same stock at the same price. So be confident that any of those that you choose is a great choice, and good luck.